Hey there everyone, welcome back to the Free Think Dojo. I've noticed that there's been a big topic of conversation lately on the idea of physical media. It is no secret these days that companies across all different industries, from movies to video games, etc., are pushing this digital movement. Everything physical is ceasing to exist at this point, and it's almost like they're dangling the product in front of us, and we can never truly grasp it because we'll never truly own it. Physical media can literally transform your experience of a product. And my fear is that these newer generations that are being drawn towards these digital only products are going to miss out on a lot. So today in the dojo, I thought I would talk a little bit about my take on the physical media crisis and how I believe that it's going to strongly affect the generations to come. Growing up in the late 90s to early 2000s, I feel like I'm a little biased when it comes to physical media. Back then, there were no digital options. If you wanted something, whether it was a movie or a video game, you would actually have to go to the store and pick it up yourself. At the end of the day, it was all about the journey. It was about getting outside, going to the store, finding the game, and having that adrenaline rush if it was going to be there or not. And even if it wasn't too bad. You would either wait until it came back in stock, or you would just go to another store to see if they have it. I will never forget the adrenaline that I had looking through the game section at the store. You never knew if your game would be in stock, but that was the fun part. You would look at each game one by one, and you would check each section, just making sure they didn't misplace it. But when you found the game, it was like striking gold. And then you would either just be able to grab it right out of the case before, security became too tight, or you would just ask the attendant to come by and hand you the game. It was a whole process. It took effort to go and find the new game that just came out. And that made the journey so much more fun. Because then after that, you would be taking a look at the cover art, kind of getting engulfed in the experience that you had before you even put the game in the system. It was the same with movies as well. I was always a movie lover growing up. So just finding the movie, looking at the scenes on the back of the cover and the cool cover art they had on the front, it was always just getting me prepared for the journey I was about to experience when I actually watched the movie. It was one of the few times that I can recall that something I held in my hands that was real can be fully translated into a completely digital world. I feel like physical media has always been a huge game changer in the video game industry. The reason that is because most people that play video games, they want to be transported from reality to their preferred fantasy land. We all want to get away from the hardships of life and be able to just dive into a completely different world where we have more control, but also get to experience things that reality might not give to us. In turn, those experiences that we have on physical media bring value to that physical product. I think because we hold so much value to physical media, we have this unconditional love for it. We never want it to leave. We never want it to go away forever. But because it is starting to get scarce in today's world, it's starting to create more problems. I've noticed quite an influx of video game collectors in 2025, just over the past few years since COVID. And while I have collected video games to a certain extent, really just focusing on titles from my childhood and something I would like to show to my future kids, I've noticed that it started to become more like a business these days. Believe it or not, video games used to just be a hobby. The games that we grew up with were always just games to us. But in 2025 especially, these resellers and these people just buying video games for insane prices and then selling them for even more has become a more common act in the industry. The prices of physical media from back in the day are skyrocketing, and I feel like they're getting worse every year. And it is really sad to see because a lot of people that are in the newer generations have never gotten to experience these physical medias. So now if they want to experience any of that physical media, they literally have to spend an arm and a leg to basically experience a hobby. Now, obviously, I could make a whole nother video just about video game collectors and the state of retro gaming these days, but I think the more important aspect to focus on is the idea that these newer generations have to almost go to digital to even experience anything that we did as kids. Digital, unlike physical media, does not have a certain longevity in a sense. Digital will never have a limit in terms of stock. Obviously, you can go on PlayStation or Xbox stores and just buy a game. It's never not going to be unavailable stock-wise. The journey of going to the store and buying the game still happens with some people, but it's become such a small act in the video game community because it's just easier to buy digital. You can save space by just having digital games. You can save time by having to go to the store or order something online and wait for it. It's right there when you need it at all times. Even if you do go to the store and buy a video game, it's going to come with a disc and barely any cover art. It's not going to come with manuals or stickers or anything to add substance to it. And then to make it even worse, you can't just pop in the game and play it because it's a digital download. For the older generations that grew up with the times that I mentioned, it's almost a slap to the face for them to give us a physical piece of media knowing that it's not really ours. To make matters even worse, though, companies have the ability to own your game that you paid for at all times and shut it down whenever they like. Now, I know this has been a big issue for a lot of people in the gaming community, and while I do agree that it is a bad thing, I think it is a little bit exaggerated at this time, because I do think it will be a bigger issue later on, where if they get more control of our games, they can shut it off mid-game or have, just take our money back, basically. And I think that is a possibility, but at this time, I think it's just more of a warning sign for what's to come. But obviously, though, we don't want to pay for something that we don't own. It's basic consumerism. But at the same time, I think because this gray area has been added in for video games, there is going to be a little bit of mixed judgment that comes with it. I know people personally that are all digital. They don't care to have any physical media. They don't like clutter, they don't like to collect it, and they also just don't want to deal with it. And I totally understand. There are going to be people out there that don't care for physical media. They just don't have value attached to something like that. But when you do start to support something like that and it starts to become another side of an opinion, it is going to determine if these big companies are going to keep doing it. Whether you yourself are a proponent of physical media or digital, that's really up to you. And at the end of the day, I'm going to have my opinions on it and how I think digital is really just going to take away the experience of buying a game and enjoying it. I do feel like digital is going to be better for certain people, and it's really hard to argue against that. But the fact of the matter is that these newer generations that are coming up with video games, they're going to lose out on what we did. And I think that's what hurts the most. All of the issues with digital games, I think, does come from our inner child. I do think it is from our deep love for video games, and the idea of owning and experiencing a game is very crucial to us. We cherish it. As an adult, I can see the side of a consumer. We do want to pay for something that we actually own. But I think we've all fell into the trap these days, and the reality of it is that we do have streaming services. We have probably bought digital media at some point, and because times are changing, I think it's only natural that we'll start to fall in there. But overall, my question to these companies is why can't we just have both? What is so wrong with having a digital option and a physical option? I know at this time we still do have those options for consoles and games, but eventually, will it still be that way? The uncertainty in the physical media industry and the conversation as a whole, I feel like really just derives from fear. I think we're all afraid that eventually we'll never own anything. I think we're all afraid that the physical media and the experiences that we had growing up will cease to exist. And I totally agree with that. It is scary. My personal opinion is we will still have physical media for quite a bit. Now, I don't know how long we will, and obviously retro titles that have been, stop production and don't put out physical media anymore, that's kind of just something we have to deal with. But at the end of the day, I think I really just feel bad for the newer generations. Kids growing up these days will not be able to read a manual that came in a video game. They won't be able to see cool cover art that they'll show their friends and not have digital butting its way in at the same time. And then when they get older and become adults and have a family, if their kids come around and say, "What games did you play growing up?" they probably won't even be able to show them. Longevity and preservation are so important for these industries, and physical media is really the only way to replicate that. Digital will kill it. Digital has no substance. And I feel like the biggest message that these companies need to remember is that gaming and these industries are about the journey, not the destination. Let me know in the comments what your guys' opinions are as well when it comes to physical media or digital taking over. I really would love to see kind of what you guys are thinking, and if you agree or disagree with anything on there, definitely let me know. Before I head out on this video, I did want to thank every single one of you that supported my previous video on the channel. It's actually my first video that has gone over 1,500 likes. So if you did contribute to that and you are watching, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for hanging out in the dojo with me. Once again, guys, remember to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, also like the video and share the video with your friends, and I'll see you guys next time.